Welcome to another episode of the Roughly Related to Reselling podcast. My name is Perry Phillips. Follow me on Instagram at Perry Flips, Whatnot, Flips and Giggles, eBay, Flips and Giggles, Facebook, Flips and Giggles. You get the idea. Subscribe to the podcast if you like the show. Hit notifications so you make sure to never miss an episode. And leave a review. If you like the show, leave a positive message or, just leave a positive review. Helps the show grow, helps me out in my confidence, can make me feel good. And if you're thinking about taking the next step in your reselling business and you want to, make it easier for yourself, think about using my Reseller Genie. If you do, I hope that you'll use my promo code GIGGLES. You'll get 15% off the bookkeeping software and 15% off of the bookkeeping course. So great value, and it helps me out a lot. So definitely check that out if you're thinking about it. All right, let's get into it. It's another week of reselling. It's going to be a couple more weeks until I get video podcasting up. Last week's episode, it just cut out. I don't know if you remember. I think I said it on the episode, but it cut out at the very end. I don't know why. And then I've just had an issue uploading it for some reason. So my buddy's coming over either this week or next before that competition to help me get set up for that. And so when he comes over to do that, I'm going to just be like, dude, just fucking please get me set up so I know exactly what I'm doing. All the settings are good to go. I can just fucking boom, 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 boom. And then hopefully I'll have a consistent video podcast because this is fucking annoying. I've spent a bunch of money on the camera and I'm just too stupid to use it. I don't know what to tell you. I can't figure it out. So, I don't know if I said this last week, but I won't be finishing school up. So I'm done with school in a week. So that's kind of big. So I'll have a little bit more time as well because I'm going to be wrapping that up. I don't know how I'm going to do in one class. I haven't been able to access the actual thing to do the coursework for the last 2 weeks, and the teacher has been just MIA. So I got an auto reply on April 26th that they were out of, not going to be back until May 2nd. It's May 5th is when I reach back out to be like, hey, I still haven't heard from you, and class is ending. I haven't been able to do this. So I don't know how that's going to go. I'm not really worried about that. My focus is on the next six-figure seller for the next few weeks. I talked about it last week, but we're picked as one of 32 sellers to compete in the next six-figure seller competition. It is based on amount of sales done in the time frame, so you get points each round, and then it's based on number of sales and then number of new buyers. So if you're not on Whatnot, jump on there. You can hit me up for my link. You'll get $15 to spend. And I've got a lot of stuff that's really cool and affordable. So I'm trying to make sure I have stuff for everyone. So, just focusing on that. I'm doing a lot of work. At first I was I spent a bunch of time promoting and reaching out and jumping into Whatnots and being hey, I'm a next six-figure seller, blah, blah, blah. Because it's they give you a prize for most bookmarks. But then I'm man, that's kind of a huge waste of my time. That's not where I'm going to win. So I shifted my focus pretty quickly, and I've been getting into the trenches, and I've been doing work. So I think you guys are going to think what we put together for the show is cool. I know we've kind of shifted from eBay, which when I started this podcast, I would have never thought that would happen. I'm still selling on eBay. I just made $100 yesterday on eBay. And then I have one more order that's been purchased, but of course they haven't paid for it. And they had the green lettering, so it'll tell you if they selected a payment method, and it said they did, so I should have had payment instantly, and they still haven't paid since last night. So that's always fun. Ebay's just, I still love eBay because, you know, you can sell some home runners. Home run, you know, items. Last night I listed something that's like, you know, I listed it for 150. It was a Star Wars. I got it in the big. I'll tell you about this big Star Wars pickup I did here shortly, but I got it in a big Star Wars pickup, and it was, you know, if it was in good shape, it would have been worth some good money. The card is, you know, not too bad, but it's like basically like snapped in half, but it's holding on by like a thread. So like the card is still attached, but like barely on the top. So it looks like it's cut in half, but it's not. It's actually there. So I, you know, complete and like good shape, it was going for like $400. So this one was, you know, it's I'm hoping to get like at least 100 for it. So yeah, but yeah, I'm still listing on eBay, but I just listed, what was it on? So I had all these essential oils for my mom, and we did an essential oils sale on Whatnot. It didn't go great. I think we made like $40. Not well at all. So I was like, fuck it, I'll just sell them all in one lot on eBay. And so like we checked to make sure they were all sealed. You know, I don't know anything about these fucking things. So we send them out to this lady, and she like sends me a message, like really like kind of shitty. And she's like, unpacked my order, and I was very disappointed to see that, mind you, she got like 40 plus little containers that were all brand new sealed. She's like, one of them was open and empty, didn't send a picture of it. I was like, okay. And then she's like, and then these 4 were sealed, but they weren't full. And she sent me a picture of like the different levels of how full they were. And I'm like, okay, they were sealed. Like, how the fuck, you know, I don't know what the levels are supposed to be. I don't order this shit. I missed a really big opportunity to, like, I thought about it like 2 days later. I was like, why didn't I just fucking hit her back with like, oh, sorry, these were my dead moms, and I don't really know about them, so I was just trying to unload them. But anyway, so I was like, I replied, I was like, yeah, I'll give you like a discount for the one that was open because I have no idea what happened. Sorry about that. We checked everything. They were all full when we sent them. And I was like, in the other 4, though, I was like, I can't really, they were sealed, so I don't really, you know, I'll refund you for the other one, but not this one. And so they were like, oh, thank you for the refund, blah, blah, blah. But just so you know, it's your responsibility to check the levels. I'm like, no, that's not. So I didn't even reply. I'm just like, get the fuck out of here. It's always something with eBay. It's like, you can't just get a fucking sale. And of course, they sell the same items. And it's like, you got a great deal regardless. Like, you got them for like $1 or $2 a piece. Like, you're going to be able to resell them just fine. So that was the latest and annoying eBay shit. And then the other thing I sold this set of earrings like a while back for $125. They were gold, and they sold like immediately and shipped them. And then like I noticed it was taking a while, so I messaged the buyer. I was like, hey, sorry it's taking a while. I submitted a missing mail search. And I feel like these are because this happens a lot. We'll have an item, it'll get lost, and it's like, and the person doesn't respond to you. It's like this, and the name's kind of sketchy, you know the names that are sketchy. I don't have to give you an example, but you know the ones that are sketchy. They're not from this country. So it gets missing. So I submit the missing mail search. It's been like almost a month. So I call them because the buyer submits an item not received. And so I call the USPS, and they're like, yeah, you can submit an insurance claim now. It's fine. Like, go ahead and do it. So I submit the insurance claim, and then they denied it. So I called, and they're like, oh, you got to just submit an appeal. You have three appeals that you can submit. I'm like, this is fucking bullshit. I've never had one get denied. I'm like, you guys told me to do it because it was lost. So now I'm like, I might be out $125. It's insured, but I think it's insured up to $100. So it's like, whatever. I'll miss out on a couple extra bucks, but it's just annoying that they are like, no, we're not going to cover it. So I don't know what the fuck that's about. Hold on a second. I got my kid. She's potty training, so I got to make sure she's not calling me. She's not. She just went to the bathroom. She's doing good. She's been like accident free for like a week. So we're like almost done with diapers in this house, which is kind of sad. It's like the end of an era. I want the changing tables out. I want the, the diaper box bins, whatever the fuck they're called, because they stink. I want those out of there. But it is, it's a sign that your kids are getting older. And so that's my youngest child. She's going to be going to preschool in the fall. We just had her like preschool thing, and she's like, she wanted to be potty trained because we keep telling her like, you can't go to preschool unless you're potty trained, which I don't think is true because I'm pretty sure I wasn't potty trained until like fucking 10. So yeah, I don't even remember how I got onto that subject. But anyway, yeah, so I'm still listed on eBay. I've got stuff that I'm going to be pulling from eBay for this thing. So I've got some stuff I already pulled down for this competition. And yeah, so it's going to be fun. I'm excited. It's May 18th. We go on 9 p.m. is our slot, Eastern time. It's always weird because the signups were in Central time, so I fucked up. I wanted an earlier time, but that's what I got, and I think it'll be fine. It'll work out. I like that 9 p.m. slot. That's kind of where we're at anyway. Make sure I get a good night's sleep the night before, and we're going to win round 1. So I want to win all 3 because nobody's done it before. So, but it's going to be tough. Round 2 is going to be the toughest because it's a 4-day turnover. So May 18th is first round. May 22nd is second round, and that's 4 days later. And you don't have like the weekend to restock. You know what I mean? Like that's where most of my inventory comes from on the weekends. So a good restock would be like that next day right after this big show. So, and that's a 35-minute show. So it goes 25 minutes, 35 minutes, and 55 minutes. So, yeah, that's where we're at. We did a couple shows last week. That went well. We did CDs. That went well. I want to do them again tomorrow. I'm going to do 2 shows tomorrow. So we have a show scheduled for tomorrow night, just another bead show. And then tomorrow morning I'm going to do CDs. So I'm going to run through a bunch more. I got a bunch more CDs this last weekend. So, and then I'm going to do some preview shows. So there's one like big preview show scheduled for the 14th. And I'd already had a show scheduled. So I'm like, fuck it, I'll just change that to my preview show. And then, but I'm going to do some like specific previews because I've got like a lot of Star Wars figures that I've put into my buy it now. Well, let me tell you guys this weekend. I'll go back to this weekend because it was a good weekend. So Thursday, was it Thursday? Thursday, I made an appointment with this lady. She was having like an estate sale, and she really didn't know what she was doing, but she was very nice. And so she was doing appointments before the day of the sale. So I got the first appointment, and she's like, in the ad, she had like Stife Bears. She only had like 1 or 2, and they weren't in great condition. And then she had some Danbury Mint cars, and they were in good shape, but like she wanted like $400 for the set. So like she was looking on eBay while I was there, and she would look on eBay and be like, "Oh, this thing sells for like $65. So would you do like $65?" Like literally. And I was like, "Well, no, I'm going to be selling it. Like if I'm buying it from you for what I'm selling it, like I can't make any money." So some stuff she had priced, some stuff she didn't. So I got like a couple like smaller things for the buy it now. But then she had a Bose radio, and she was like, "Oh, that thing." She's like, "I don't think it works. Blah blah blah. It's got the remotes, but." So I was like, "All right, well, like, how much do you want on it?" Because I knew, like, if I could get it for like $5 to $10, then like I could still resell it, for like 50 plus. And so then her cousin or something is there, and she's like, "What's wrong with this Bose thing?" He's like, "Nothing." He's like, "It works." He's like, "We just couldn't figure out how to use it." And so like I plugged it in, used it, everything seemed like it was working, but they didn't have CDs to test it. So I brought it home, tested it, and it was working. But I just had to order remotes because I don't know if the remotes work. So I just like briefly tested it as much as I could. So, but that was a good find. I mean, those things can go for like 200 plus. But we're going to be auctioning it starting at $1 on our thing. I think that's one. I don't know what to do about these heavier items. Like, if we should just keep everything smaller and then, but we've got some bigger items that have to get in this, it's just got to happen. So we'll see how that goes. And I'm trying to figure out shipping, like if I want to do max shipping. I know I just like started to talk about this was last weekend, then I'm back on this competition. That's all I'm like thinking about right now is try to figure out the logistics and planning and like, yeah, so I got to figure all that out. And then what was I going to say? Okay, so this weekend, so yeah, I went to that lady's, so got some decent stuff, and then she had these like little coins. I got them for like, I think $5 or something like that. And, cause she couldn't find them when she was looking them up. So I found them in like 2 seconds, and, like the full set was going for like $400, and this was like half the set with like one other coin that's similar. So I'd probably say I could probably get, between 150 to 200 maybe. They're all silver, so it's got that going for him. So that was a cool little pickup. And then, yeah, just a few other things. Like they had a bunch of these cool vintage hats, so I got some of those. So that started off the weekend. And then Friday, I don't think there was anything Friday. I think Friday ended up being a bust. I went out to a yard sale Friday, and there was like nothing there. There was stuff there, but it was like antique junk. You know what I mean? Like stuff that I'm sure somebody could resell, but not me. And but then Saturday, my wife was off, so I didn't have the kids, which is always a plus for yard sales. And there was a sale at 7 a.m., and it was in Rhode Island, which is like, it was like an hour to get to that sale. So I headed out. I got there like just before 7, so it was like 6:45. They were still getting set up. They let me look around, and there wasn't like anything really, like I didn't buy anything. There was this guy pulling out a bunch of like brand new toys, but they were all like, shitty like TJ Maxx toys and like shit like that. Like, so I left there, and I was like, well, fuck it, I'm already out here. Like, there's a couple other ones starting like 8. So there was one I had seen the sign for up the street, and I just like popped over and checked it out. And the lady was like just getting set up, and she was cool. She's like, yeah, you could take a look. And so I asked if she had any video games, and she had a little bin, and there was an Xbox 360, but I was like, I never want to deal with those. This one was beat up too. So I left that, but I got a Wii U, and a couple games like Wii Sports, and then like a couple of the colored controllers for Wii, which would go for some decent money. And then there was like a Sega, like not the Genesis, like actual Genesis, but like one of the like newer emulators that still has a little bit of value. So, and it's light, so easy to ship. So I got that, and I paid like $20 for everything, which was more than fair. And then there was another sale that started at 7, so I shot over there. I got there at like 7:30, and I looked around. I got like a vintage Fox shirt from like early 2000s for $1. And then there wasn't really much else there. But as I was walking out, the next door neighbor was like a younger guy, probably a little older than me, and he was coming out, and he said something to his neighbor like, "Oh, you guys are already getting shoppers." He's like, "I'm just getting going. I'm getting my stuff pulled out now." So he was like going to move his car. And so I asked the other guy, I was like, "Oh, is he getting set up too?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, he's moving. So he's got a ton of stuff." He's got like Star Wars, and he's got video games and comic books. I was like, all right, I'm going to stay and wait for this guy. So he came back, and I was like, hey, I heard you're going to be getting set up. I was like, I'm interested in like, all the stuff you got. And so he's like, all right. He's like, I haven't even started pulling it out. I got some friends coming. He's like, but you can come in, just come on in the house. So I go in, and then I find out that his sale was starting at 9, and his neighbor started at 7. I was like, dude, cool. Like, meet in the middle at 8. You know what I mean? Like, such a wild discrepancy. So luckily, I was right place, right time. I had traveled an hour, and so he lets me in the house, and he brings me into the back where all that stuff is, and he's just got like boxes of Star Wars figures, and he had a box of like the older figures. And I wish I had clarified what he meant, but his friend was like, came in afterwards. I'll talk about his friend in a minute. But yeah, so there was a bunch of video games, and like this whole time I didn't know that the sale was starting at 9. I just, I assumed he was late starting this sale. So I'm like, wow, nobody's here and this stuff. Because that stuff wasn't advertised. But I guess he had done his own separate advertisement that I didn't see. So he's like, yeah, I've got people like asking about the video games and stuff and blah, 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 blah. And so I'm like, well, I'm interested. Like, I'm here. I'll take them all. Like, I'll just start loading up. Like, you don't even have to bring this stuff out. And so he's like, all right, like, let me figure out a price. I got to go through some of it. You know, he's like, you know, starts pulling stuff out. And then his buddy shows up. And, like, this dude had super ADD because he kept getting sidetracked. And his buddy's like, you know, he's like, yeah, my buddy's kind of a control freak, blah, blah, blah. So his buddy gets there and he's, like, ready to start moving shit. And I was like, well, I can help. Like, I'm trying to get paid out so I can go. So I'll help you guys out. So I'm pulling stuff out, like, bringing tables out for him. I was there fucking 2 hours, dude. I was committed to this purchase, like, to this bulk buy. Because he had so much stuff, like boxes. There was 13 boxes of Star Wars figures. And it wasn't anything crazy, but, like, I've sold them on Whatnot before, and they do really well. Like, I knew how much money was there just based on the one show we did. And then there was a copy of Star Wars #1 and #2, like newsstand editions. So I'm going to get both of those graded and like pressed and cleaned and get those graded, which is an awesome, awesome pickup. And then I'm trying to think of what else. A bunch of, like I said, the video game stuff, but there was like a Nintendo NES console. And he was like, for some reason, he was undervaluing like the retro games and like overvaluing. He had like a few Xbox consoles. And then a Nintendo Switch, which he said didn't really work properly. So I was like, oh, like, you know, I don't really. And he wanted like 75 for it. So I was like, eh. So those ones I kind of passed on. But like, I was literally there. I kept coming up to him like, hey, you know, I'm ready to cash out. Like, the people were coming in at this point because they didn't want people in the house. Like, he kind of wanted to do it in the house, but his friend was like, no. And I'm like, it was kind of weird. His friend was kind of like had chick energy. Like he was, you know, like the fat friend chick energy. Like, no, you can't look. Like, I had already talked to the guy. I'd been in the house, like, and he's like came back in after and kicked everybody out. And I was like, I don't know if I'm supposed to leave, but like my pile's still here. I don't want to leave this thing because like people are still coming in, and like I do want everything that I have. And so, you know, I tell the guy again, like, hey, like, you know, so he comes in, he starts to get a price, and he's like, you know, they kick everybody out. And so then finally, like, I see some CDs. He then brings out like a big thing of CDs. So I'm like, fuck, now I'm overlooking at them and it's good shit. So I'm thinking like, should I make a deal on this whole thing? But I wanted to get a price for the other stuff because I'm like, you know, so I pulled out the good CDs that I really wanted, put those in my pile, and like some other lady shows up, and like I'm getting closer and closer to getting this guy to like, you know, cash me out. Oh, before this, sorry, I got getting ahead of myself. He was like, oh, Perry, could you go help me? He's like calling me by my first name and shit, like we're friends. By the end of it, we were friends. I was there for so long. So then he's like, oh, can you go help him move that toilet? So I go over and there's a bunch of sports cards on top. And I was like, oh, you got all these cards. You want me to start bringing these out for the sale? He's like, nah, those are going in the dumpster if you want to just start taking them to the trash in the back. I was like, you're throwing them away? He's like, yeah, it's just all soccer cards. So I was like, I'll take them if you're just getting rid of them for like dumping them. He's like, you want them? Take them. So I took them, loaded my car up with that. So I had like I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to fit everything in my car. Like that's how much stuff that was in this whole big buy. So I got all those free already. So already I'm like, all right, I'm already ahead. I know I can sell this on Facebook quick. And so finally, dude, it was... I'm telling you, it was 2 hours. I got there at 7:30. I didn't leave till after 9 o'clock. Like, that's how long it took me to finally get locked. Because I didn't want to be too pushy. The guy was being very cool. And, like, I could tell he was trying to, like, get some of the other people out of there so he didn't have a bidding war. And then his friend was trying to buy the Star Wars figures out from under me. And we had already agreed on, like, I think $300 for everything for those because there was so many of them. There was, like, 13 boxes, and I think we did 25 a box. So... I don't know, do the math. I can't remember what the math is on that. So he was trying to buy it out from under me. And like, he was like, no, dude, I already told him I'm going to sell it to him. Like he's been waiting. He's been helping. No, I'm sticking to that price. And he had another box of like vintage figures too, like not in the box, but like, you know, loose figures. And he was like, oh, it's going to be like a couple figures for this. And I should have like asked like what, or a couple digits for this. I should have been like, oh, how much? Like, because if it was like $200, it would have been a good deal. But I just, in my head, for some reason, I was thinking each figure. So I was just like, no, he's probably already like, because some of the stuff he was going to sell on eBay. So I knew some of the stuff was going to be outpriced, but he didn't even like, he looked at the Star Wars comic. He's like, I don't know, like $5. He didn't even care about those. So I got those for next to nothing. So when all is said and done, I got like figures, toys, collectibles, video games, CDs, like a ton of shit, and then all the cards. So he charged me $500 for everything. So I finally pay him. I load up. It's like so glad that I'm fucking done, and I head back, like, you know, paid out, finished, head back, get back to town. I was like, you know what? I thought I was going to be done for yard sales of the day, but I'm like, let me go just see if I missed anything. And I went to like 4 sales in my hometown, and they all sucked. And it was a waste of like an hour. I'm like, fuck, I should have just gone home. But then the next day, so I posted those cards, and I went through kind of like, I was like, you know, it was mostly stuff. It looked like he had been doing a lot of breaks, like card breaks on like Whatnot, I think, because we did talk about Whatnot. So I think he was just doing a ton of card breaks on Whatnot. I think one even had like Whatnot written on the plastic. And so I ended up posting it on Facebook like the next day. I took a few cards out. I asked my cousin, because his kid's into soccer. So I asked my cousin, you know, who his kid collects, and found some of his cards. And then I went and found like some Star Wars cards. I took those out to put in our Whatnot auction. But then I sold them for $400 the next day. So spent $500 at the sale, made $400 back like right away. So now we're basically $100 in. It was $400 cash too, which was nice. So now we're only in like $100 for all that stuff. Oh, there was like vintage Smurfs. There was a My Little Pony, like sealed My Little Pony toy that I can probably get like $100 for. There's a few toys worth like $100 that he like didn't realize was in there, or just didn't care, didn't value. But and there was like a Futurama toy that was in there sealed. So there was like a lot of good shit in there. Yeah, so like it was worth the wait, you know, because I came back and there was not shit going around. Like, you know, all the sales that were going on sucked. So it was worth the drive, like crazy timing. That was up there with that time I went to that estate sale, and the lady just let me in before everybody. Like, that was the craziest shit ever. I've told this story here before, but I went to estate sale a few years ago, and I had messaged the lady just asking, like, I forget, like, just a question about the video games, because she posted, it was a sale that they had. Like, they did it every week at this place, and it was always like a flea market. And so one weekend they were like, oh, we're doing an estate sale, and they had like video games, Lego, like sealed collectibles, all types of good shit. And so I just messaged the lady. I don't even remember what we talked about, but something about the video games. And so I get there, and like I was the only one there. There was people outside, so I just walked up. I was like, yeah, I talked to so-and-so about like the video games that she has. And they're like, oh, let me go like grab her. So she like comes out and she goes, here, come in quick. And she lets me in. And as I turn around, I see like more people are starting to show up. And so she lets me in, and she goes like, these are the video games here. I want $400 for all these. These, like, I want this much for this, 100. Oh no, it was like 100 for these, 100 for these. So I think it came out to like 400 for everything. And I got like a full put together Star Wars, what the fuck, the Jawas, the little sand crawler, the big ass fucking it was like a fully put together complete Lego set that I think I sold for 400. Like, it was a crazy buy, and the lady was just like, come on in. So I don't know if she mistook me for somebody else, because I never talked to her about like buying anything early. I just had asked her a question, but she just was like, all right, come on in, and just took me in. And I could see people were like pissed when I was walking out. I just had like all the best shit. Like, yeah, it was crazy. So it was up there with like that type of luck, where I was just like, because I was in there and I knew all that stuff was mine. Like, people were coming in. This guy was trying to grab the Star Wars. I was like, nah, it's in my pile. And they kept calling me the kid. Like, they weren't. This guy wasn't much older than me, but like I must have looked a lot younger than he does. Like, he was probably like 10 years older than me, and he kept calling me like, oh, the kid's buying that stuff. Yeah, the kid's got dibs on that stuff, because people kept trying to go into my pile. So he was at least looking out for me, because he thought I was young. But I'm like, bro, I'm like almost 40. I'm not a kid. And so that was like a crazy crazy Saturday haul, and the fact that we made most of the money back the next day was awesome. So yeah, I got a ton of fresh inventory, blowing through it as far as getting it ready to go. So I'm like almost done processing like the entire Star Wars collection. I'm going to do 2 of the boxes as an auction because there was 2 like boxes as they were sent. They're open, but they still have like all the toys that originally packed in it the way it was. So I'm going to send that as like, that's going to be one auction. And then I have 2 of those. So I'm going to do 2 of those. And then the rest of the figures will be like, dirt cheap. So, yeah, so that was a good Saturday. And then I went to go meet up with a friend because my buddy's girl had like some designer stuff to sell. So we've been trying to like come up with a time to meet, and it just hasn't worked out. So we set a time to meet up, and he told me where to meet, like the town to meet in, and like my brain, I for some reason I didn't even consider the fact that he didn't live there. So when I heard that town, I was like, oh, his parents' house. And so just like, we all got ready, we left. So I drive to his parents' house, and I've known him and his parents. Like I've known his parents since I was 2. You know what I mean? Like I grew up at their house. Like it was my best friend. Like, I'm like an extended family member. So we get to his parents' house, and, we park. I look up, his dad's at the door, like waiting, greeting us. So we get out, we come up. He's like, oh, come on in. It was their anniversary too. So I'm like, oh, happy anniversary. I'm like, yeah, that's why we're here, like joking. And so we go in, and, they invite us in. They're like, hey, come on in. And his mom's there, and, they're older at this point. And so she's like, they have a playroom for their grandkids. So she takes my kids into the playroom. She's like, hey, come play with all this stuff. Sits down. She's offering us drinks, like not like alcoholic, but like, Coke, water, anything like that, coffee. Like, no, we're just, I'm just waiting for Jay. And she's like, oh, is he coming by here? And I'm like, oh, did he not tell you we're supposed to meet here? She's like, no, am I going to see him today? So I call him. He's like, no, I'm at my house. And I'm like, oh, that's right, you do. Because he's always at his girl's house. He's like, I'm not always there. I'm like, well, enough to where I'm like, I just completely forgot that you would be meeting me. You know what I mean? So we met up, and I was looking at all the stuff. And she had like used AI, like Google AI, to kind of try to price it. But, so the prices were kind of off on like a few things. So I don't know if that deal's going to work out, because I don't want to be like, the price that I'm going to offer is not anywhere near, like not even anywhere near what they were wanting for it. And like, I don't want to make shit like uncomfortable or awkward and be like, I'm not trying to fuck anybody over, but like I have to, this is what I could spend on it. So it's that type of deal. So we'll see what they say. But yeah, I don't think that deal's going to work out. So it is what it is. We bought a couple smaller things off of them. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. And then this weekend, there's hoping there's some sales coming up. So I got my kids with me, so that's always kind of makes things a little bit difficult. But they're like, I don't know. I got them up early last time. I'm gonna get them up early again, and hope that it goes well. We had a birthday party last Saturday, so that was a Saturday before, so that was fun. Let me see what else I have to talk about. I've got some stuff written down. It might be a shorter episode just because I have to, I got to get up and get these kids going. So last week they did at my kids' school. It was called STEAM Night. Everybody else knows it as STEM, I guess, like science, technology, education, something like that. But I guess ours just adds art, so that's the A. So they did that. It was like a little whole thing where they had all these stations set up at the kids' school. So my youngest was, excited because she's going to be going to that school in the fall, so she wanted to check it out. And so they had all these different things set up, and then they had the cops, a little station with like the cops and a little station with the firefighters. And so we go over to the cop one, and he's got like these little bags with like coloring books, and she's like, yeah, do you want this? Do you want this? So he's giving my 3-year-old all this stuff, like stickers. And then he's got these little squishy like plush drones. He's like, you want a little drone? So he gives my daughter this drone, and then of course my other daughter wants one, so we got to go back and get more. And I'm looking at this thing as we're like leaving. I'm like, they really gave us like a government issued state surveillance drone, like a squishy cute version of a government issued state surveillance drone. Like, I was like, that's a crazy thing to hand out at a kid's thing. Like, here's a drone, kid. Like, what the fuck? It didn't dawn on me until I was walking out, and I was like, is that really what they just gave out? Like, because we went and saw the firefighters, and they were talking shit about the cops, that just playfully, they're like, oh, you guys got a bag from the cops? Take one of ours, it's bigger. Like, shit like that. So that was pretty funny. And then, just walking around, you see all types of, like, because you see all the parents during the day, and they're like, a lot of them are just wearing, sweats and stuff. But then at night, obviously they're dressed up a little bit. But then you see the ones that, like, they're like, oh, they look like worse than when they came in, when they dropped off their kids. Like, there was one family, like, and I'm sure they're probably, not in the best financial situation. So I'm not trying to, like, cast aspersions or anything like that. But this guy showed up, and his hair's never looked like this. I've seen him before. His hair, it looked like he either got electrocuted or was on a meth bender. Like, I don't know which was worse. His hair, like, it looked like after, in Home Alone when he gets fucking electrocuted and his hair just goes, like, fucking crazy straight up. That's what this guy's hair looked like. So he was there, and then his wife was wearing just a bathrobe. Like, she had, like, clothes on under, like, pajamas or something, but she had a straight up bathrobe on. And I'm pretty sure it was, like, one that they jacked from a hotel. Like, it was a hotel bathrobe. So that was, like, what stood out to me. I was like, oh, man. Like, these are, like, some of the kids that we're going to have to interact with. And, like, my kid's going to be trying to bring over. And, like, luckily, I think those kids are older. I don't think those kids are in her class. But I was like, damn, that's a tough look. That's a tough look coming in with your dad, like, and your mom like that. So I feel for those kids. I do. So then, and I got some free CDs last week too. So that was pretty cool. My neighbors gave me some free CDs to do for the sale thing, like, last week. And then it was actually, like, really crazy because it was like one was like his dead wife, and it was like metal and, like, random shit that you wouldn't expect. And then the other stuff was just, like, classic rock. So it was a good little, free CD pickup. I paid for some of the CDs from one of the guys, but I had two different neighbors hit me up, so that was nice. And I wanted to mention this part too, because this that had never happened to me. But there was a lady. So the coins that I got that I was telling you about earlier, the silver ones, like like some type of car, like classic car thing. I can't remember what type of coins they are. But the lady was like, oh, I don't know anything about them, blah, blah, blah. She's like, if they do sell for a lot of money, will you make sure you, you reach out to me and give me a little extra. And I was like, I think she was serious, which is like, if it was a friend maybe, but like some random lady at a fucking estate sale, like, no, lady, if you really think that they're worth something, you should have, like, done a little bit more research. It took me 2 seconds to do some research and figure out that these things were worth a little bit of money. It's not worth enough to be like, hey, lady, can I come back and give you some, like, fuck off, dude. I couldn't tell if she was serious or not. I think she was being serious, which is kind of crazy. And then I was at a yard sale, like, either last week or 2 weeks ago. I wrote this down, like, 2 weeks ago because I thought it was a funny, like, random thing for somebody to say. And they were paying with, like, their Venmo or something, and they, like, and it was like a younger girl, like maybe like late teens, early 20s. And she said something about, like, yeah, I don't use cash. Cash is creepy. I was like, well, what? I don't even remember the context. It was a couple weeks ago, but it was just so crazy. I just remember her saying cash is creepy. I was like, cash is creepy? Like, what the fuck? You're at a yard sale. Like, everybody here has cash. So it was just very, very bizarre. Very bizarre. I can't remember if she was hosting the yard sale or just a customer, but it was a very bizarre thing to say. I've never heard somebody say cash is creepy before. So that was an interesting one. And then this is just a random, like, aside. I was listening to that song Flagpole Sitta by Harvey Danger. I think it's Harvey Danger. I always want to say Harvey Dangerfield. Harvey Danger, I think, sings that song. And that's the band name, I think, not the actual guy's name. But anyway, that song, there's, like, part where he's, like, talking about fingertips. I didn't realize it was about jerking off. It's one of those, like, when you listen to it again as an adult, you're like, oh, he's just talking about jerking off. There's a lot of songs I feel like about jerking off that was, like, when I was young. Like, I'd never write a song about jerking off. You know what I mean? Somebody who jerks off. I was never wanted to put it to song form. You know what I mean? Maybe a musical about jerking off, but not like just a song with like hidden innuendo about jerking off. Very, very bizarre choice to put in a song. A lot of bizarre choices. So, all right. Anyway, it's gonna be a short episode because I've got a lot of shit to do, and I'm still prepping for May 18th. Just remember, we've got some really good giveaways. We got a vintage Pokemon card. I haven't decided which one yet, but it's vintage slabbed Pokemon card, graded, so it's at least $100 card. And then I am doing a couple other giveaways. There's going to be like at least, I think, $200 is in stuff that I want to give away, maybe more, in 25 minutes. So yeah, it's going to be a big one. And then, we have 2 shows tomorrow, so check those out if you haven't checked out our Whatnot yet. If you want to see what it's all about, Flips and Giggles that's the username, and you can find us pretty much everywhere. Flips and Giggles, Instagram Perry Flips, because Flips and Giggles wasn't available. I might try to get that at some point because they don't really use it. I don't think they use it at all. So I might be incorrect. I think it's a private account, but it doesn't look like I've been watching the posts, and I don't think the posts have changed. But anyway, yeah, that's the end of the podcast. Make sure you follow and hit that subscribe notification button. So, the podcast, sometimes it comes out late. It should be on time today. I'm about to finish this up, and then I'm going to go load it up and put it up. It's audio only, so it's usually a lot easier than having to deal with video. And then, I'm hoping to have video soon. I really do. It's just been a pain in my ass trying to figure it out. I don't know why I struggle with video. I don't know why. I have a video podcast due for my final exam, and I'm hoping I'm going to be able to figure it out. I just got to do like a recorded thing. So I just got to like record myself reading something. So I'm going to do that later. I don't feel like doing it right now. I don't have much time. So I'm going to chill for a minute before I go pick up my child. And I'll get this podcast up. And use my promo code Giggles if you're thinking of checking out my reseller genie. You can also use the link in my eBay, in the link in my Instagram bio, Perry Flips with a Z. So that's the podcast. Do I have anything else to talk about before I finish? I thought I had one other thing, but we'll save it for next week. Next week should be a longer episode, I'm hoping. But thank you very much, and I'll talk to you again next week. Peace.